It's really not a halo around me. I can see this, it's just amazing. When Reverend Bob was here years ago, he was bald, and so it was shining, bouncing off his head. And so his wife always said, back up 10 spaces before you speak. It's so funny. Do we have any master gardeners here? Anybody a master gardener? Anybody a gardener? One, two, a few people growing a garden. Good, good. Because we know in gardens, you can do the best you can, but there's some invisible forces at work. I sure know that. And you know, we're rooted in, we swim in, we are living in what we call invisible forces. It's an energy. And the ultimate energy here in this center we call God. I call it infinite intelligence because it's so intelligent, even when there are those moments that I don't seem to appear to be. And so in the book, Living the Science of Mind, it's a wonderful book, and Ernest Holmes, the author, challenges us to honestly look at our lives and look at where we're happy. And here we also talk about 4 areas of life: relationships, our work, our health, and our abundance. So those are the 4 main areas of life. And Dr. Holmes writes, if there's any of those areas that we would like to improve, fantastic, because there are invisible forces that we can tap into. But it also means increasing our faith in those invisible forces. We know they're there, like gravity and like so many other things. And it's that time of year that all the plants, the trees and the plants on Earth, are rooted in the same power. I was always disappointed after I took biology because they told me how plants really grow. And I thought it was miraculous. I thought there was just some super, super cool thing going on, and if I loved the plant enough, it would just grow, but that wasn't true. So I stopped gardening after a while. I didn't have whatever it was. I didn't have whatever it was. And we're rooted in this same invisible energy. We've been given a mind. You know, plants we water, but we've been given a mind to think with, to think about things, to learn the scientific power of prayer. We call it scientific prayer. And that prayer and that power and that energy directs our life forces. It attracts like energy. So I think of a tree as a good example. Right behind the sanctuary is a cherry tree. In the spring, it was gorgeous. All those pink blossoms. It's a very healthy tree. Of course, with all the energy forces here, it would be. But we have a landscape team that helps with that too. But when it was in full bloom, it was just majestic, just majestic. And so I was thinking of the root system of that tree. The root system goes deep in the soil, and it's pulling nutrients out of the soil, like water. Of course, all plants need water. But they also need nutrients like nitrogen. They need oxygen. And they need sunlight. Sometimes not direct sunlight, but they need light for photosynthesis so they can keep growing, so the leaves can keep growing and the blossoms grow. Without any one of those sources, they wouldn't really grow very beautifully. As Jesus said, consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They do not toil, neither do they spin. And yet I say to you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these lilies. They don't worry. They don't have angst. They just grow through these invisible forces, just like a beautiful tree. They don't spend a lot of time worrying. We could learn a lot from the plants in our lives. Ernest Holmes said one time he met a cartoonist, one of the most famous cartoonists in the US, and he was fascinated with this. And this was long before computers. So the nature of a cartoonist's work is to draw pictures with some words that 1 million people can read and laugh or just have kind of a wonderful feeling about it. And this cartoonist had millions of people that were reading his cartoons every day. And Ernest Holmes said, wow, the pressure. every day a new cartoon. How do you do it? And he said, well, I have a room in my house with 4 blank walls. I have a table, a chair, a piece of paper, and a pencil. And I go in there and I sit, sometimes for hours. And then a little thought will go by and go, that's interesting. And then another thought will go by, and then he combined those and he started to see a picture in his mind, and it just came. It just came. So he said, I would sit down and be quiet and wait. Now that's a nice way to start a job. Sit down and be quiet and wait. He didn't worry. He just knew it would come. You know, that's real faith. And it's the infinite intelligence around us, if we're paying attention, if we're listening, if we're not letting our mind just go crazy. Ideas will come to us. Feelings will come to us. And we will move forward in life. And it's kind of like a seed. You know, we plant a seed in the soil, and we water it, and we go, well, hope something happens. And there's this infinite intelligence embedded in that seed that if it's a tomato seed, it will be a tomato plant, not watermelon or poison ivy. It'll be a tomato plant. Once the seed starts to sprout, it will get oxygen from the air, a carbon dioxide from the air, which is where we get our oxygen. And it'll draw energy from the soil and the sun, and it'll start to grow. But what about us? Where are we growing? Well, what Holmes said, isn't it interesting that we can eat a piece of apple pie or a ham sandwich and our fingernails grow? And we don't think a thing about it. We do not think about it. Our hair grows, we digest it, we get energy from it, and we don't think about the intelligence that makes that happen. We don't have to command it. It just does its work. So the question this morning is your life as healthy as this beautiful cherry tree? Is it balanced? If there's any place in life where you think it's less than, then today's your opportunity to tap into that infinite intelligence and exact some of that positive energy, that strength. It depends a lot on our level of faith. Our faith that we are swimming in this incredible energy of infinite intelligence. It's a power greater than us. And we're more than a tree. You know, we're rooted. We're rooted here because of gravity, thank goodness. And we're rooted in this philosophy because we believe it, and we see it acting in our life. We see it, the results of it in our lives. And the invisible force for our human life is our mind, our beliefs, conscious or subconscious belief, positive or negative belief. We have to think of that too. You know, a tree doesn't have to go, well, it's time to grow a new branch. Where do you want to grow it? Why do I need a new branch? A tree could have an incredible dialogue with itself and saying why it doesn't need to grow, and yet the sun and the soil and the water and the air and all these things are pushing it to grow, just like us. Our soul is pushing us to grow. And what area is that for you? We often block the energy. We short-circuit ourselves. We watch the news too much. That's a short circuit. Definitely a short circuit. The energy is flowing through us, and sometimes we stop it. And sometimes we do that with negative thoughts or words. And Louise Hay, you probably know the name of this wonderful author. She says things like, if you're having indigestion, you're having trouble digesting what's going on in your life. And so the energy we block tends to settle somewhere in our body. It's not always the case, but they're indicators. Having trouble moving forward, finding that right job or that right relationship. Maybe you've got an ankle problem or a knee problem. Moving forward, the energy to move forward. Lots of things to think about, how we short-circuit ourselves. Energy flows where our attention goes. I have this on a little card from Michael Beckwith in my bathroom, and I read it every morning. What am I thinking about? Because wherever my attention's going, that's where the energy of my day is going to go. And is it good or not? Well, this week I started Prosperity Plus. It's a 10-week course in prosperity written by Mary Morrissey, who has gained and lost millions of dollars in her life. So she's really got prosperity figured out. So we watch a DVD and she's talking about prosperity. And the first thing she says is, the world is governed by invisible laws. And I went, yeah, but some people don't know that. Some people don't realize that. Because we do have gravity, thank goodness. We have electricity. We have the law of aerodynamics, just to name a few. But when we learn how they work, then we can use that ourselves. Like when somebody learned aerodynamics is something you can do to move a huge, heavy object through the air, look where it led us. It's amazing. Electricity lights up a room. Electricity takes us from the darkness to light, even at night. It's so cool. And it enables us to fly from New York to Paris and feel safe. When we become aware of how these laws work, and there are many spiritual laws besides that, we've talked about that, but it enables us to live in harmony with everything, much more in harmony. So it makes our lives feel better, run smoother. In this first DVD, she read a quote by Thomas Edison that I don't think I have heard, and it's this. You probably heard this already this morning. Thomas Edison, I know this world is ruled by infinite intelligence. Everything that surrounds us, everything that exists, proves that there are infinite laws behind it. There can be no denying this fact because it's mathematical in its precision. That's the science behind scientific prayer. It's mathematical in its precision. Trees grow mathematically. You give a tree very little water, you know mathematically what it's not going to do. You give it a lot of water, it will grow unless it's too much water. And these are the things that scientists love to work on, figuring this out. And a master gardener, oh my gosh, I'm going to meet one someday and just listen to everything that they've learned about how plants grow scientifically. I was looking on the internet yesterday about tomato plants. I love tomatoes. And it said 3 million people are planting gardens this year, and 9 out of 10 of them will grow tomatoes. That's a lot of plants. And in my experience trying to grow tomatoes, it's just pure frustration. I never got the hang of it, but it's really complicated because there's invisible forces also at work besides me trying to get this little tomato plant to grow. I was always baffled by the things that would show up on my tomatoes. They would look strange, grow strange, the leaves would curl, they'd turn orange, they'd turn yellow, they'd fall off. I mean, it was totally baffling. There was never a how-to booklet that came with a tomato plant. And so yesterday I Googled problems with tomato plants, and it said, here's the top 20. I'm only going to give you 4, but you can look it up. It's fascinating. It said, if the blossoms fall off without developing a tomato, there could be wide temperature fluctuations, insect damage, lack of water, or nitrogen imbalance. Now, how would I know which is which? I don't know. It said if the tomato skin develops cracks as it grows, the problem is it had too little water and then you gave it too much water. Oh dear. If the tomato develops yellow patches on its red skin, the problem is it got scalded by the sun. Now wait a minute, tomato plants love sun, but not all sun. And here in Redding, it's pretty intense sun. I never thought too much sun would be a problem for a tomato plant. And then if you ever cut open a tomato, and I know from getting some from the store, and you cut it open, you go, there's holes in this tomato. Where's the meat in this tomato? Have you ever had that? Just not enough stuff inside the tomato. The problem was under-fertilization, poor soil, or inadequate pollination. How would I know? It's fascinating. And that's just 4 of the 20. But you get the idea. All that, plus these invisible forces at work, are needed for this little tomato plant to grow into a nice, juicy tomato. So when I built my house years ago in Redding, I thought, oh, I've got a little space here. I'll grow some corn. So I don't know why. I'm from Ohio. You know, corn that's what Ohio is corn. So I'm going to grow some corn. So I planted 2 rows of corn. Watered it, watched it, sent love to it. It grew up. I took off some of the husks, and I pulled back the husks. And there were hardly any kernels. There were some kernels, some were small, some were large, and there were places where there were no kernels. I thought it was bad seed, had to be bad seed. So if you remember Harry and Frances Bliley, world-class gardeners. So I took these irregular-looking corn cobs into Frances, and I said, Frances, I just want to talk to you. What is wrong with this corn? And she said, Mary, your corn has a sex problem. I just took 2 steps back. A sex problem in my property? I mean, what is going on? And she said, you cannot grow corn without 4 rows of corn. Nobody told me that. It takes 4 rows of corn to adequately pollinate. Oh, I didn't know. I thought bees. I didn't know. Anyway, I never grew corn again. But it's so much cheaper at the store, isn't it? But there were these invisible forces not at work with my corn. You would have thought, I'm pretty smart. You would have thought I would have gone to the garden store and bought a book about growing corn, or even looking it up. But no, I trusted. I sent it love. Oh my God. So Mary Morrissey says there's some beliefs we carry with us today that no longer serve us. I got a few of those. But when we have limiting beliefs that no longer serve us, they impact our lives. They impact whether divine intelligence is helping us grow or not. So she said, here's what you need to do. And I invite you to do this too. Think about what you absolutely love in all those 4 areas of your life. Even if it's not happening, but what you would love about relationships, about abundance, about your work, about your health. And the students in the class said, that's pretty overwhelming. So well, then start with this. Start and write down a perfect day. Your absolutely perfect day. Who's there? Who isn't there? What are you doing? What are you not doing? What do you smell? What do you taste? Do you go out? Where are you on the earth? And no flying unicorns. This has to be real. What do you love about your perfect day? And I'll bet in your perfect day, those 4 areas show up. I bet they do. I bet there's a relationship in there. I bet there's some creativity with your work in there. I bet there's some healthy things you do on your perfect day. I would hope there's some healthy things you do on your perfect day. And then I hope that you celebrate maybe spending some money or doing something that fills you with that sense of abundance. When you do that, you will see what you love. And then she says, think about it, visualize it, maybe make a collage of pictures from magazines about it. Focus on all those parts of that perfect day, and you will be amazed. The infinite intelligence at work in your life. And these little sprouts are going to grow. These little sprouts that go, I'm coming, I'm growing. It's true, it happens. Years ago, when Dr. Andrea was here, she made us write our Right and Perfect Day, and about a year ago, I read it to you. It was really, really wonderful. Sex and everything. And when she gave it back to me, she said, "Can I have your day?" I thought that was so sweet. It was really good and juicy. And you know what? I've had several of those days since then, when at the end of the day I go, "Oh my God, it has been perfect." Not every day, but you know it when it's there, you know it when it happens. So infinite intelligence knows what to do with us when we want something, when we focus on something, when we send our energy to about something. It knows what to do with that, and that is because we have faith. We have faith in it. Honestly, it's time to have a little better opinion of yourself. You deserve this. The soul is yearning for you to grow. I love this story about the cartoonist because I could really relate. Now, I'm not a cartoonist. I tried watercolor, but yeah. But I love the method of the cartoonist, because about every other week I have to give a talk like this. And Home Office sends us the theme for the month, and they send us the title of the talk with a couple of good quotes, and there I am with a blank screen on my computer. And I'm sitting there, and it's Wednesday. And I'm playing around with this, and okay. I think I got it. I write it all up. And Paul knows this. A few hours later, I'm rewriting the whole thing as if it was all just worthless, because more ideas are coming. More ideas are coming. I do that on Wednesday. Then on Friday, I look at it and I go, "Holy cow, I have to start over. This is just not going to do." So I cross out, rewrite. Sometimes I end up saying, like on Saturday, "Holy mackerel, I've got 24 hours to finish this." Now, holy mackerel is an Ohio term. You know, I grew up in Ohio. I know when I hear that in my mind, oh dear, I really got a lot to do. But I sit down and I go, there's always an answer, because I tell you that. There's always an answer. There is always an answer, no matter what the question and no matter what the difficulty. And I have a fairly large library in the office at home. So I just start pulling off books, looking for ideas. And bang, the cartoonist comes up in one of Holmes' writings. And I just take that and go with it. The tree idea from Holmes. Oh my gosh, what a great idea. Our roots in infinite intelligence. And so from this little title and a couple good quotes, my mind says, Saturday, it's got to be 30 minutes, you know. They're giving me the sign, you only got 30 minutes. Well, try and do a 5-minute talk. 30 is pretty tough sometimes. And then it's got to be organized so you can follow it. And then you need to understand it. Paul helps me with that. And then he says, you don't have enough examples. Okay, well, we'll throw some examples in there. And then I like to laugh. So I like to add a couple things to make you laugh, to make you relax. And the closer I get to Sunday, it feels better and better. And then the little schmooze comes again. And you only got 12 hours. And then I'm fine-tuning it. And then even this morning after I got up, I probably made 10 changes. So when I need help, it better be fast, because I don't want to short-circuit myself. I want to get the right words. I want to get the right ideas to help explain these principles of science of mind, the invisible forces that you deal with every day. And finally, I have to say, in the office 20 minutes ago, that's enough. That's enough. Spiritual wisdom has been in me, around me, in you, around you, through every part of your life, every part, holding you up to greater nature. This wisdom is already here. And we can say we bless it, but it is in us. So that's what I would like to do a prayer for at the moment. This is the true joy of being able to do this work. To know the truth about you. That you are a magnificent creation of the one intelligence that created the whole universe and everything in it, with mathematical precision. The size and the breadth and the length of the universe created with mathematical precision. The power of your thoughts, of your beliefs, to create new expressions in your life, new relationships, better work, better health, better abundance, with mathematical precision. And I accept that you know this, you have faith in it, and everywhere you want to improve, you accept it as done. Because when the idea is there, the energy comes to it like attracts like. Your energy attracts like energy. And what seems miraculous comes into existence. This is the greatest gift the Science of Mind teaching gives us. So that as we look around, we see our life and connect the dots. Connect the dots. If I want a friend, have I been a friend? If I want good health, have I been eating, exercising well? If I want abundance, am I giving and receiving? Am I stimulating the law of cause and effect? Am I stimulating this cycle of giving and receiving? And so I am so grateful this morning to share not only about trees and corn and tomatoes, but the magnificence that lies behind those. It lies in us also. So thank you, God, for the ability to grasp this, the ability to see it, know it, feel it, and make use of it in our individual lives. This is the gift of being a human being. It's the gift of being alive. We honor it, we cherish it, we use it, and we are grateful. And so it is. Thank you.